Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting. It's August 11th, 2023. I hope you're not melting in this hot weather that we're having every day. All right, our agenda this morning, we'll start out with success stories. If anybody's landed, they can share their good news. We'll then have everybody put their 30-second reductions in the chat window. We'll then hear from the PIC crew, the practice interview success workshop, the career tip of the week, and then we'll have our main event right about the top of the hour. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just use the chat window. For those watching on Facebook, please just enter any questions you've got into the comment field. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. In 2008, I started a website, saw a need for a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I always have copies with me. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about the PIC crew here in just a moment. Well, we'd like to start the meeting off with good news. Anybody out there have any good news to share? Any landing information from anybody?
Yes, I do. I have 2 offers on the table right now. So I'm going through the pros and cons as we speak. So happy to report that.
Okay. Do you want to share, or you want to wait until you pick one and then tell us the good news?
Well, I'm deciding between Georgia Tech and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So those are 2 offers on the table. One's an associate dean and the other is the unit lead for development.
Congratulations. Please give us an update when you do decide which one you're going to pick. Please let us know. Thank you very much. Anybody else out there? All right. All right. Well, let's move on to have everybody put their 30-second reduction. So in the chat window, if you will, open up the chat window. We'd like to have your 30-second reduction. We want to know who you are, phone number, email address, position you're looking for, 2 or 3 target companies, and then hit the return key. I'll take all this information. I'll use it to update the roster. I'll use this to update everything, that we've got a handout, I think, going out this afternoon. So all that will go out. You'll get an email this afternoon with everybody's information in it. The roster is full of great information. The first page is all about those people who are active, been here in the last 90 days. The second page is all about those who have landed. These are landings, people who have landed in the last, since 2006 or 2007. The list goes way, way back. And then the third page are those people we've lost contacts with. So if you will, go ahead in the contact field, put in your contact information, and then we will get that updated. And we'll put 30 seconds on the clock. All right, good morning. All right, here we go. Thanks everybody for putting their information in. Please, if you're typing, please continue to do so. All right, well, we've got one person. We actually had 2 people here that are here in person. I tell you what, we're gonna go back and do that in just a second because he's filling out a slip of paper. So we will get that, we'll come back to them in just a moment to get their 30-second reductions. If you know somebody who's unemployed, somebody who's recently unemployed, somebody who's been unemployed for a long time, please let them know about Career DFW and careerusa.org, 2 totally free websites that are out there They do not collect any personal information. They're just there to help you as a job seeker, or if you know somebody who's looking for a job, to help them in their career search. One of the things you'll find on the Career DFW website is a bunch of calendars. And on the calendar, this is a sample of this is the everything page. And on there, you'll see that all the pink are job fairs, the gold are special workshops that are happening, blue are networking groups that are meeting in person, purple, those groups that are meeting online. So, please check out the calendar. There's a lot of great information. There's always something to do if you're unemployed that you can be part of. All right, let me talk for a second about the practice interview team, also known as the PIC crew. First of all, it's totally free. They do not collect any, they're just here to help you in your job search, okay? Their motto is practice early, practice often. You probably need to practice 3 or 4 times to really get a handle on how well you're doing. Remember, your LinkedIn profile, your resume, that isn't going to get you a job. What's going to get you a job is how well you practice your interviewing skills. Your resume and LinkedIn profile, they'll get you a phone call. But the next step is how well you answer when you're talking with people. So just consider that. What the PIC crew wants to do is they want you to send a resume and a job description and your schedule 2 to 4 days out. They're meeting online via Zoom Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So they can the interviews that way. And send your resume and a job description. Just pick any job description that's out there. If you're, just wanting to practice something, you don't have anything actually live. Be very careful. If you got an interview for Monday, don't call the PIC crew and go, hey, can I get an interview? I got a real interview on Monday. They probably won't be able to help you that quickly. They need a few days to schedule the interviewers to be to get everybody organized. So for more information, you can go to dallaspicrew.com. The PIC crew is also meeting in person on the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays each month. This coming Wednesday, the next Wednesday, there is a in-person interview that will be happening at the Dallas PIC crew right here at Christ United Methodist Church in Plano. From Wednesday from 1 to 3 o'clock, just come join us and you can watch an actual practice interview. If you want to be interviewed, remember, just send your information to dallaspicrew@gmail.com. All right, it's time to hear the career tip of the week. Rosanna, thank you for being with us. I think you're there. I haven't looked to see. Let me see, are you there? Yep, there you're there. Thank you for reading the career tip of the week. Brand new tip every Saturday afternoon, and you'll find it on Career DFW and careerusa.org. Good morning, Rosanna.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. Oh my gosh, happy Friday. All right, so today's tip of the week is dated August the 6th, and it's how far back should a resume go? I'm sure everybody asked that question. And this article is by Chris Westfall. So your resume, also called a CV or a curriculum vitae, is a self-portrait of your career. If you've got a lot of experience, maybe you're wondering, how far back should my resume go? Your resume is your keyword dense story, a tale that balances relevance and experience. The key to any resume is similar to success in the job interview. It's all the timing. It's all the timing. Close the door. Hang on one second. Close the door. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so it's all in the timing. In the same way that the lack of experience can be a challenge on your resume, so can too much depth. Go back too far on your resume and you risk trading deep experience for current relevance. Clearly, the timing that matters most for your career depends on the opportunity you're seeking. So how long ago is too long for a resume? Every employer everywhere is looking for one thing and one thing only. From Denny's to the Department of Defense, organizations need solution providers. What's the solution you can provide, and how can you share evidence of your service? in the form of a resume. History adds credibility and when it comes to your career. But an experience is only a part of the story. In the job search process, you have to choose the words and the timeline that will help you the most. You want to be clear on the solution you can provide to your potential employer, but too much experience is too much. And what do you do if you have a gap or two in your timeline? What if you bounced around a little in your career? And then does that make the resume look bad or overwritten if you go back too far into the past? Here's how to decide how many years make sense for you. First, you want to consider your industry, your experience, and your qualifications, but don't start there. Look at what the position is requesting. Shape your resume to the opportunity. Using authenticity, consider how to shape each of your experiences to reinforce why you are a perfect candidate for this particular role. Relevance is the key. Do you match up with the job description on your resume? How many years of experience makes you qualified? The answer depends, first and foremost, on what the employer is requesting. If you simply don't have the qualifications, you're not out of the running, but you just qualified yourself as a non-traditional candidate. You're probably going to need more than just a resume to get an interview, but that's a subject for another post. Consider that CareerBuilder suggests 10 years as a benchmark for how far back your resume can go in 2023. Next, you want to consider the impact over the experience. Experience provides ability, but how many times do you need to prove that you have the ability to do something in order for a potential employer to see your value? The initial answer probably lies within the job description. If you don't have 5 years of experience in a role and that's what it's called for, you might have a tough time getting past the ATS, which is the applicant tracking system. And that's an acronym for an automated resume screening software. Remember, there's something that matters more than experience when it comes to your resume. Speak the universal language of numbers to reflect the size and scope of the difference that you've made for previous employers. Can you show that you made an impact? Does your resume clearly state the scope of your contribution? The amount of time in your workforce or in a job is only part of your story. Next, you want to go here if you can. Most experts recommend going back no more than 10 to 15 years, but everyone with an iPhone introduced exactly 16 years ago in June of 2007 can tell you that a lot has changed in 15 years. Can you imagine showing up with an original iPhone today? If your previous years of experience are relevant to your current pursuits, it's time to fall out of love with today's gone by. Even if 1996 was a stellar year for you, or just the year that you were born, that date isn't really relevant on the resume. Next, you want to know when to cut it short. Do you have a life event that happened to you in your career journey, causing a shift in your trajectory? Maybe it's a circumstance that's difficult to explain, a gap in your resume, or a choice that you made that has no bearing on what you're doing or what you're trying to do next. Lots of people have made tough choices during the financial crisis, for example, and in the years around 2008, maybe you were one of them. You're a financial analyst now, but right out of school, you took a job as a graphic designer to pay the bills. Does that story help or hinder your cause? Here's the screening software going. Sorry about that, guys. How's the screening software going to view that position? You want to next consider that transparency is important, but confusion must be overcome. Storytelling is always selective, and your resume needs to tell a story. Remember that you are not the first person since God was a boy who took a gig to pay some bills. Your story of an unexpected left turn or an unplanned gap on your resume could be a point of connection where you demonstrate your resourcefulness and willingness to do what it takes. But that resourcefulness might be best discussed in an interview. How you position your prior positions on your CV needs to be in alignment with your objective. If you have some circumstances that you're not sure how to pitch to your employer, or a gap that's 6 months or longer, it's a good idea to get with a coach for some guidance. An expert coach can take your history and help you write a different ending, or at least a really good next chapter. Next, is longevity a liability? What happens if you stayed at the same company or worked in the same role for the last 15 years or longer? The key here, as with any story about your experience, is to focus on what matters most to your potential employer. Do they value dedication and commitment? A steady and even hand at the wheel? Longevity can be an asset if your experience is tailored to your next opportunity. However, transitioning from a lengthy career can be another reason to hire a coach so that you can pull relevance, not rigidity, from your prior commitments. Now, including more than 15 years of experience on a resume is rare in today's market. The world has changed so quickly in the last 15 years. It's hard to imagine that employers would view experience from the early 2000s as a compelling reason to hire someone, especially in a field like AI, software, cryptocurrency, or robotics. Nevertheless, there's no one size that fits all when it comes to your resume. Your resume is the first step in sharing your story, and a story that explores the experience you can create for your potential employer. The past only serves to confirm that what you've done for others. The real story starts with what you can do for your next company and the experience you want to create for your new team. This was the Career Tip of the Week, dated August the 6th of 2023, and it's how far back should you go? Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
Rosanna, thank you very, very much. All right, today for lunch, if you'd like to come join us for lunch, 11:45, we're gonna go to Country Burger, 3115 West Parker Road in Plano. It's on the northwest corner at Parker and Independence. They've got burger, salad, more. If you're interested in this sandwich, you do need to bring your own ham. They do not have ham, but they can make this for you. It's about 35, 40 bucks, I think is what they told me last time I was there. All right, in just a couple moments, we'll have our main event. We'll talk about the joy of stress. But I want to talk about our upcoming sessions. We've got the next 2 weeks, Strength Finders. Brandy Shade will be with us next Friday, talking about Strength Finders. Many of you know Brandy. She's been doing this for a long, long time. She's helping candidates. She helps everybody with how to use Strength Finders. So that'll be next Friday. And then in 2 weeks, Minna Brown will be with us to talk about the one-page bio. I think that's probably one of the most important documents you can have in your job search. Your resume is great, but your resume you need to customize every time you send out to a specific job. A one-page bio is great for networking. It's great for everything else that's going on. So before we get to our main event here, we've got a couple people here. I want to allow them to introduce themselves. If you'll grab the mic, you'll be on camera here. In fact, here, let me just stop this so you can be seen. And please go ahead and introduce yourself. Yeah, you may want to sit down. Or okay, there we go. Aha. Just turn it on.
All right.
Is it on? Yep.
Testing. Can you hear me?
As long as you put the green, as long as it's green. You're
Yep,
good.
it's green. All right. I'm Adam Little. I'm an IT cybersecurity business resiliency executive. Focus areas are on operations and risk management in large financial institutions. I'm supported by a career in the United States Air Force and degrees in engineering and an MBA. I'm targeting Black Rifle Coffee and also PNC Bank. I'm Adam Little.
Great. All right. Flip it back. I think you have to flip back on. Yep.
Here we go. Good morning, everybody. My name is William McLaughlin. I'm looking for a data analyst role. I'm currently targeting CoreLogic and Leidos, and my name's William McLaughlin.
Great. Thank you very, very much. All right. Let's see here. Yep, everything's set up. So our talk today is about the joy of stress. This was a video. Walt Glass was supposed to present with us today. Walt is under the weather. So this is sort of my backup. What do we do when we don't do, when Walt's not available? This is about an hour-long video. I think you'll find it sort of funny. It's humorous. Looking for a job is really hard work, and it can be very stressful for you, stressful for your family, stressful for other people who are around you. So hopefully you'll get a few things out of this, and you'll be able to enjoy this. So let me find it here. And it has disappeared from my screen. Let's see here. Well, give me a second. I need to go back and find it.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the joy of stress. Some of you are probably thinking, the joy of stress? What's so joyful about standing next to somebody in a supermarket line who's got 100 coupons so they can get 20 cents off a loaf of bread? What's joyful about being in traffic with somebody who failed driver's ed? And what about this person I live with who just won't study their relationship dictionary? How about the kids who fail to get to the bus every morning? I just don't know what to do. It's terrible. But we may have some answers here today because, stress is positive or negative depending on how you look at it. And each and every one of us has within ourselves the power to decide how to interpret stressful events. We can do it with humor. We can do it with wisdom. Sometimes we can use some compassion. Sometimes we can use patience. And sometimes we can just accept the situation for what it is. But I think we ought to start right here with a little evaluation just to see how everybody in the audience is doing. How many of you have been stressed for the past week? Raise your hand. How about for the past month? How about for the past year? 10 years? Anybody a lifer? All right, now, I used to be quite calm, but then all of a sudden, because I don't include myself in this, I became menopausal. Anybody here menopausal? Some of the men are raising their hand. But I discovered a little humor in menopause when I found a T-shirt that said, "I'm out of estrogen and I have a gun." Now, let me ask you this other question about stress, because some people perceive this as a stressor. How many of you haven't had enough sex lately? Couple of people in the room, huh? Well, I just a little aside about this. You might want this information. You know why a lot of people are stressed about sex now? It's because they don't have time, and they don't have the ability to fit it into their schedule. So they're exhausted and tired, and there's no time for sex. And how do I know this? Well, this has now reached sort of an epidemic, and Oprah Winfrey had a show on this, and she had several tired couples on one afternoon. And she had a psychiatrist on to help the tired couples, the study of the id by the odd. And what the psychiatrist told the tired couples was to put it in their organizer, which I thought was quite spontaneous and delightful. So now on Friday night, you have another job. Now, I can think of a better method, and I happen to have one myself, but what I like to do is I just tell my husband to start without me. I tell him when it sounds good, I'll be in. You might want to put that in your schedule. Now, if you haven't noticed already, there seems to really be a lot of catastrophizing and awfulizing in our society. Have all of you noticed that? Every day people are just going around, isn't it awful? Oh, it's just so bad. I don't know what to do. It's just terrible. In fact, I go into a lot of corporate places, and the first thing that I hear from some of the employees is, it's bad here. It's so bad here, you have no idea. And of course, they're not content with it being bad just then. They want to predict more for later. So they'll say, it's going to get much worse. And I say, well, that's true, and it'll probably get better when you leave. And unfortunately, a lot of us are doing that on a daily basis. 75% a daily conversation is negative. 75%. That's why my mission in life is truly to stop global whining. I think we should all stop global whining, don't you? How many of you have started whining when you notice the weather? Something you have no control over. Oh, it's raining. Now I'm going to have to struggle with that. God only knows. Probably accidents. Going to be terrible. It's going to take me much longer to get there than normal. And of course, you turn on the radio in the car, and do they leave you alone? No, they tell you what's happening in the tunnel, beyond the tunnel, even in the next planet. Isn't that true? Now, why do we need to know that information? Kids get up in the morning, they say, hey, it's raining. Let me go jump in the puddles. I can't wait to jump in the puddles, but, well, I'm going to get wet. Isn't that sad? Then how many of you look in the mirror? Start in on yourself like, how did this happen? How did this happen? I can't believe it. I got heavy. I don't know how I got heavy. It just happened. I used to own a fitness center, and I taught aerobics, can you tell? And anytime I asked people how they got heavy, they'd say, well, I went to a wedding. I said, you got like this at one wedding? And of course, there's all the people who are bloated. Do you know how many people are bloated? It's like a nation of walking waterbeds. So now it's raining, and you're bloated. And of course, you're probably tired. Because this is another thing. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Now, what do we expect after we say that 7 times? Have you ever seen anybody walking down the street going, I'm so tired? No, that's not the way it is. You obviously start to feel how you think. And for most of us, I think we like to feel bad. I'm beginning to think there's a misery gene. What do you think? I truly think there's a misery gene because a lot of us keep sharing how awful we feel. I want you to consider how often in your lifetime or even this week, let's just take this week, you have told somebody that you have a headache. Oh, I have such a headache. My head is killing me. And then, of course, we want to increase it because we're not satisfied with one headache. We want to tell people that we have several headaches. In fact, I get them every day now. And my back is killing me most of the time. My back always hurts. And my stomach, oh, I can't take it. No matter what I eat, it bothers my stomach. Why is it that Valium and Tagamet are the most widely sold drugs in the country? Because you don't go to a doctor and he says, hey, laugh it up. You'll feel better in no time. No, we want to take pills. Well, that's all well and good when they're necessary, but we probably could change that. And then, how many of you tell people that you haven't even been able to go to the bathroom today? See, we want to make sure that the suffering is rampant and total. Oh, I just don't even have the opportunity to pee. Now tell me, why is it we don't go up to somebody and say, you know, I peed profusely today. I am totally empty. I am so light I could float. Because we like to be martyrs. How many of you have noticed the amount of martyrdom that goes on now? Martyrs all over the place. Oh. I can't have any fun today. I haven't had fun in so long. But I can have fun today because I'm not done. Maybe when I'm done, I'll have fun, but not right now. It's funny, I come from an Italian family, Sicilian, and my grandmother had the whole thing together on martyrdom. She used to wear black in case somebody died. She used to wear a hair shirt during the war because the boys were overseas. And she had huge cannonball rosary beads, which she fingered constantly. And she would always say, oh, I suffer so much. When the boys come home, then I laugh. Very strange phenomena. Because they used to write and say, we're laughing. My grandfather, on the other hand, was an optimist. He loved to laugh. He would laugh anytime he could. And you know, it's not as if he didn't have something to suffer over. He only had one arm. But he thought he had two. Anytime anybody was having a bad time, he'd go up to them and say, you're having trouble because you only have two hands. I'm going to have to help you because I have one. Eternal optimist. And you know what they've discovered? That optimists actually live longer. Pessimists are accurate, but they don't live as long. Now, I think it would be a great idea to become a martyr and use it as a tool for humor. If you want to be a martyr, get yourself a martyr kit. Get a piece of Velcro, put a piece around your wrist, another around your head, snap it together. Then you can go around telling everybody, oh, nobody cares. And you know what? They don't. And see, there's a lot to be a martyr about today, too, because I forgot to include something. We can't even enjoy things today. Can you enjoy things without being reported? When's the last time you ate down and sat down at a meal and you just ate and drooled all over yourself and went, ah, delightful. Now there's somebody there saying, how many grams are you having? How many grams? What's your cholesterol count? What's your HDL, LDL, and every LDL? This is what people talk about now when they're at parties. Now, I think it's wonderful to know these statistics, and I believe in eating well so you can extend your life for however long you can do it. But imagine eating low fat and being mad about it. So there you are. I'm having my low fat. I'm going to live a very long time, as miserable as possible. You know, Dr. David Sobel wrote a wonderful book that I recommend to everybody. It's called Healthy Pleasures. And in it, he says, eat every once in a while, eat because it's a joy. And we're missing that, aren't we? We go home. Do you ever smell anything when you go home anymore? What do you smell when you go home? The microwave? No, you don't sit down and enjoy your food and discuss it. When I was growing up, we ate and then we discussed what we were going to eat when we finished. In other words, where were we going to go to buy the meal for tonight? You didn't walk in the house and pop something in and it went, beep. That's what we really need to do. We need to go back to enjoying things because today everything's about deprivation and suffering, isn't it? Let's suffer, suffer, suffer. And you know you are going to suffer. Why practice? And you know, you actually start to look like you think. If you're suffering a lot and you're squeezing a lot, you know, there's a lot of people squeezing, not only suffering, they're squeezing. These are the people who are in charge of everything, who want everything done, and who are just caught up in themselves and their titles. You know, I'm in charge, I'm in charge. I'm in charge of everything. I'm here to take over the universe. I'm director of the universe. You know, it doesn't even matter if they're in charge of anything. There are people who are in charge of folding towels who do the same thing. No one folds the towels like I do. Well, who cares? There's a name for that. It's called anal retention. You start to look like you're holding quarters between your cheeks. Some people look like they're holding dimes. And you know what? We may get the opportunity here to drop some change. Dropping the quarter is the ultimate aha. Instead of, oh, no. And see, we all want to shift from, oh, no, to aha. We want to get it before it gets us, don't we? Leo Buscaglia knew a lot about this. He used to go up to people and say, how do you feel? People would say, fine. He'd say, why don't you tell your face? And you know what's interesting? They've actually done research on facial expressions. Dr. Robert Zients has been studying this for years, and he's discovered that how you look ultimately makes you feel a certain way. And that's why there's such great importance to looking, changing, and sort of feeding into the emotion that you might want to have. He actually found that even pretending to feel a certain way gets you there. It's called fake it till you make it. So I'd like all of you in the audience to try a few faces right now. I want you to put on your grumpiest look. Try a grumpy look. How does that feel? And this is actually the way most people look when they're walking around. If you see somebody like that, you think that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. In fact, there are workshops on how to handle people like this. How to deal with difficult people. If you see somebody that's like this, you think, they're strange. So let's all try it, everybody. Big toothy grin. Now, how do you feel? Feel better, don't you? Because your mind is saying, I think we're happy. I think we're happy. So, what I think we ought to do is get into a little bit of a laughter before we go on to the next phase of this. And we need to practice, you know, because children really laugh just throughout their whole body, don't they? Don't they just crack up? That's a real guffaw, isn't it? And you know, most adults don't get it. According to research, by the time you're an adult, you're lucky if you're cranking out 15 laughs a day. That's from 400 when you're 4 to 15 when you're an adult. And have you ever heard the laughs? Ah-ha. 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 That's because you can't squeeze and laugh at the same time. Now, what I'd like to do with all of you is show you what a belly laugh looks like and feels like. So we're going to do the preliminary work, and then when we come back, we're going to go through the entire guffaw. So are you ready for this? All right, big toothy grin. Now, this is very important. And I would suggest you start this as soon as you wake up. You open your eyes, you look around, and you say, I'm back. Somebody says, who cares? You go next door and you try it there. Now, I've teased you a little bit about the laugh, haven't I? And I got you giggling a little bit. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to continue our little laugh when we return. Well, we're back for more laughter. Did any of you have to call people you don't like in between? Just so you could suffer for a few minutes? Well, I think we're going to go back to our laugh and sort of recap it so we can get through the whole thing. And this is very important, the laugh and the guffaw, because this can really build up your immune system and help you throughout life. You actually can stack up, sort of have residual benefits. Well, Norman Cousins used this to help heal himself of something called ankylosing spondylitis, and that took me forever to even say. And he found that when he laughed for 2 hours, he didn't have to take pain medication for quite some time. So let's all try this. Are you ready? Here we go. Big toothy grin. Now remember, it has to be wide and toothy. Now I want you to show your molars. If you don't have any, show your gums. And we need everybody to do this, including the men. Sometimes men have a little bit of a problem getting involved and looking a little silly in front of each other. You know that routine. That's why they never ask for directions. You've been with a man when you've been lost, haven't you? You say, where are we? They say, we're almost there. Well, why don't you ask that person? Well, what does he know? Well, he knows where you are. That's why Moses was in the desert for 40 years. If he had had a woman with him, she would have asked the burning bush. They would have been out of there. So now we have everybody involved, don't we? We did our big toothy grin. Now open your eyes. This makes you look alert. Now raise your eyebrows. This makes you look tall and thin. That's your new low-fat face. Now everybody, reach down and grab hold of your belly. Keeping in mind that you must take ownership of whatever you've created. If you fed it, it's yours. Now, some people are lucky. They have different sections they can hang on to. So just decide which layer you want to hang on to. Now, if you don't have enough of your own, hang on to the person next to you. Now, the next part is very easy. I want you to look at somebody's face so that you can experience joy yourself by looking at somebody else. So look at somebody's face, hang on to your belly, and on the count of 3, we're all going to go, ha, 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 ha. And we're going to try to laugh for 30 seconds. I don't know if I can handle that much joy. Well, see if you can handle it anyway. You ready? Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, doesn't that feel excellent? Of course it does. But see, I prove my point every time when I express a desire to do this with adults in my workshops. The first response is, If I had been saying this to a group of 3 or 4-year-olds, and I said, we're going to laugh for 30 seconds, you know what would happen? Practically the whole group would go, I could do it for much longer. But see, the adult in us, because we've grown to get to the point where we don't have time to enjoy ourselves, I mean, I may have fun someday. That's too long. 30 seconds is too long. You ever had a kid stop at your house, 3 or 4 years old, knock on the door, say, can I come in? I'm exhausted from playing. Maybe I can clean your toilet or something. We even had some people time it. They were timing it to see how long. Wanted to make sure it didn't go too long. And there's wonderful benefits to laughter. There really are. You ought to have a humor room in your house. You ought to have one in the place you work at. You should have a joy gang. A jollyologist. Well, when people play along the way, they actually increase productivity, don't they? Because you stop watching the clock. You stop saying, is it time for my break? Is it Friday yet? Maybe Sunday I'll enjoy myself. But I don't have too much time. Maybe when I go on a trip, but they don't pay me enough. When I get the money, the pitiful substance, I'll go someplace I don't like, and I'll be unhappy there. And then you die. Your family gets your money and they go on a trip. So don't wait. Laugh every day. It's very important. Learn from children. Children laugh just about any time they feel like it because they're in the moment, don't they? And they try to get what they need when they can too, don't they? They're like woodpeckers. Anytime any one of my grandchildren comes to visit and they want something, they never stop. I want a cookie. I want a lollipop. Wait a minute. I want a cookie. I want a lollipop. Wait a minute. I want a cookie. I want a cookie. I want a cookie. I want a cookie. Woodpecker drills. And they do things very spontaneously. Unfortunately, I don't have all of my grandchildren nearby, but I have one that periodically I get to see, and she's a hoot. I go over there for treatment periodically. I went over there recently, and she was standing stark naked in the living room, in high heels. And she was applauding herself. When's the last time you did that? I decided I was going to try that because I loved it. And I like to sort of do these things to my husband because he's much more conservative than I am. So I greeted him one night, stark naked, in wingtips. And the first thing he said is, "What are the neighbors going to think?" I said, "I don't know. I haven't shown them yet." But see, that's a typical response why a lot of us don't do a lot of things, even laugh. I mean, when you're doing that, a little exercise, how many of you feel foolish or you start to think, is anybody watching? I wonder if anybody's watching. I wonder if they are watching. Well, you know, they are everywhere, don't you? I saw them in a van coming up here in the expressway. See, it's very easy to get tuned into they because you start learning this principle when you're a little kid. Little kids are here and there. They move around a lot, don't they? They never stop moving. They make funny faces. But by the time you're 3, you're given 350,000 no's. Stop it. Sit down. Be quiet. Who do you think you are? Just who do you think you are? Do any of you remember the fact that you couldn't use the good scissors? Please don't use my good scissors. Well, what does that mean? What pair should I use? I guess I should use the pair that don't cut. Well, you start to internalize that information, don't you? You start to put yourself on the back burner. You start to wait. Maybe there's a right time to do these things. So you start saving stuff. Start waiting for a special occasion. I remember as a kid I had a pair of underpants my mother didn't let me wear. Because they were too good. I still have them. They just don't fit anymore. That's the whole point, is it? To keep them new so they stay in the drawer? You get to have an observance once in a while. How many of you have good dishes? Nobody can sit at the table and use the good dishes, especially the family. The family doesn't deserve these things. They get to eat off the chip china. Drink it out of the jelly glasses. Then when people you don't know come over, you say, "Hey, come on in. You can eat off these dishes. We don't know who you are, but it's fine." How about the good room? How many of you tell your family, "Please, don't go in that room. I just cleaned it." No problem. We'll sit in a filthy room. Maybe we can go outside and look at through the window of the clean room. And then, most importantly, there's that real special occasion, death. Have you ever been to a funeral where people actually walk around saying, they look fabulous. They've never looked this good. Have you ever seen them look this good? That's because somebody finally went to their closet, got their good stuff, and put it on them. Finally, a special occasion. Think of the rules and regulations so many of us are invested in from this committee that's up there judging, telling you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. How many of you made sure that you organized your home before you left today? Just in case. One of the things my mother always said to me is, you never know. I don't know what you don't know, but you never know. So, of course, you have to make your bed, because you never know. What if somebody stops by? What if the bed checkers come over? So you go through your whole life with this fear that people you have never met might come over your house and check your beds. And you tell people, I'm not going out. I didn't finish the bed. I had some people in a workshop once who told me they could never leave their house until they did all the dishes. I said, take them with you. Put them in the car. Then they'll never find them. And think of the underwear. How many of you wear your underwear every day? Now, do you put it on, and as you put it on, you say, oh, joy, ecstasy. I can't wait to take a look at them periodically. No, we wear them because we could be in an accident. We don't want to be in an accident, right? Especially if we don't have clean underwear on. Nobody stops to think rationally about these things. The fear is so embedded. What if I am in an accident? Will my underwear stay clean for long? And see, this is at the root of a lot of our irrationality, and irrationality is what causes upsetness. And upsetness is what causes anxiety, and anxiety often leads to depression, and then, bingo, no humor. So I would say, take a look at your committee. Who's on it? See your mind like a big bus. Put your committee on board and take them for a ride. Look in the mirror in the morning and say, I'm driving the bus. I don't think I'll wear underpants, and I'm not making my bed either. See, if you really look at life the way it's meant to be, you're the only one that can make you happy. No one else can. You're driving the bus, ultimately. Now, let me give you a few quirky ways to laugh at yourself, because everybody in this room's a joke. They just don't get it sometimes. We're all a walking sitcom, aren't we? And there's nothing funnier than the things that come out of your lips. How many of you have ever gone someplace and told somebody, I always get the slow line? Oh, always get the slow line. How many of you get the slow line? And of course, we want to tell people over and over so we can suffer before we go. Then when we get there and we get it, we're so excited because we were right. But we really don't have to get overly anxious about being in a slow line, especially if we exaggerate the context of what we tell ourselves what ordinarily disturbs us. Exaggerate the humor in it. The next time you go to the supermarket, look around. Say, my God, they're back. See, oftentimes irrationality is because we think we're the center of the universe. It's as if there's a plot that people are sent to wherever we are. So if they are wherever we are, enjoy them. Say, wow, it's so fascinating having you in the store with me again. I use this principle sometimes with people when they're catastrophizing and awfulizing, especially in supermarkets, because it's very funny. I had this woman next to me. She was beating a loaf of bread to death. She said, every time I come in here, it fills up with people. I said, isn't that odd? The same thing happens to me. She said, something's going on. I said, well, I noticed the manager. He goes in his office, and he's calling people up. And they're coming here to see you and I. She finally got it, and she went, ah. She dropped her quarter right in the aisle. Now, a few humorous ways of seeing stress a little differently. Remember, we said wit and wisdom. I would suggest you get yourself a pair of these. Use them when you're driving through traffic. Especially when you have to merge. People don't let you in, put them on. I've done it many times, and they often go, come on in. Use them when you're driving, when you're in the supermarket. Get your card, beep, beep. You'll notice that the kids get it right away. They wave, and they say, hi, lady. You can hear the parents, don't talk to that woman. More importantly, use them on yourself. Look in the mirror every day and say, how serious is this? Get yourself some costumes. For those of you who are perfectionists and you want your house viewed by all people because of the things you've done, get yourself a cape. I have a little ta-da cape. Put this on, swoop around your house. Tell people, look at the oven. I just finished cleaning it. Swoop around your workplace. Tell people it's a good thing I'm here. I don't know what would happen if I wasn't in. If you like to be in charge and you're really in control and you love everybody to know it, get yourself one of these. Put this on. Walk around your workplace. I'm in charge of everything. I'm not even going to the bathroom. I can't leave my desk. Try it at home if you're having an argument with a loved one. This is what I love to do. I put the hat on, I go out in the yard, and I stand there. My husband always says, get in the house. I just fold my arms and say, did I win? He always says, come in. You won. Because he's got the neighbors on his committee. Try it when your kids are nagging you and they want you to take them places and you're sick and exhausted. Say, come on, I'll take you to the mall. Let's go. You may not be ready for that version. You may need a training version. And for those of you who are martyrs, I'm sure there's some of you out there, you probably want to get yourself one of these so you can be as helpful as possible without doing a thing for yourself. You know me, I'm always there. I'm almost dead, but it doesn't matter. Someday when I'm gone, they'll know how really good I was. Yes, and then they'll sell you dishes. Now, of course, if none of this information has mattered to you one way or the other, and you want to insist on catastrophizing, awfulizing, whining, and moaning, then I would get a whip. Anytime you have the opportunity, self-flagellate. As soon as you start the day, God, it's awful. It's raining and I'm bloated. But for the most part, keep this in mind. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Thank you.
All right, so that's our video for today, Joy of Stress. As you can tell, this video came out, I think, in the late 80s, but it's something I've seen and I always giggle when I watch it. So hopefully y'all have seen something, learned something from it. All right, let me share a few slides. We'll get out of here today. Next Friday, Brandy Shade will be with us to talk about Strength Finders. If you haven't taken the 10th test, you can go to Clifton Strength Finders, take the take the test, find out what your top 5 strengths are, find out what your top 10. If you want to pay and do all of them, you can. It is not a free test, but it's either somewhere between $19 and $39, I believe, depending on how many different levels you want to find out about. But Strength Finder is a great opportunity, great way to find out how to explain to people what it is you do and how you can help other people. Let me turn my camera back on. There we go. All right. Let's see here. If you have not put your 30-second introductions in the chat window, please do so. So I know you're with us this afternoon, or I know you're with us this morning. I will put an email out this afternoon with everybody's contact information. Please look over the list. See if there's somebody on that list that you can help them out. Maybe you've got a contact at somebody's company and you can help them with what they're doing. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Join us. Special event next Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. I'm going to be doing a presentation with St. Andrew's Career Care called Focus on These 4 Areas for the Most Successful Job Searches. I think every job search consists of 4 things you've got to get done really before you jump into your job search. And we'll talk about those next Monday at 2 o'clock. If you want the Zoom link, just go to the Career DFW or Career USA calendar, look on the free training workshops that are listed there right on the front page, and you'll be able to find the Zoom link to join us. Next Tuesday for LinkedIn Tuesdays, Locke Alderson will be with us to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that get results. Next Wednesday, the practice interview team will be live and in person at Christ United Methodist Church, 3101 Coit, corner of Parker and Coit. There'll be no online session. So the next online session we'll have will be on August 23rd. So please come join us 1 to 3 o'clock. They meet every Wednesday. And it's really great. We do some networking. We find out who everybody is. It's really a great opportunity. So come join us next Wednesday. And then next Thursday, being the 3rd Thursday of the month, we'll talk all about resumes. We've got a different speaker who will talk about what they want to talk about, what they're sharing about what your resume should be part of. This session has been recorded. You will be able to find it on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist. I have over 530 videos currently up there. At the very bottom, pick whichever topic you want. So if you pick North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group speakers, where that red circle is, click on that. And up will come a list of all the different titles and dates and what people have talked about. You're welcome to go back and watch any of those at your convenience. Please know that any of them from the North Dallas group, you'll need to go about 25 to 30 minutes in to see where the speaker starts speaking. Come join us today at lunch, 1145 Country Burger, 3115 West Parker Road in Plano, the northwest corner of Parker and Independence, burger, salad, and more. Come join us. We'd appreciate and we'd love to see you. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next Friday.